Good evening, I'm Terry Moran. For 12 years it's been simple, really. If you're in the military and you're openly gay, they kick you out. Don't ask, don't tell, it's called, a policy with a catchy name that's been a major battleground in the nation's culture wars ever since President Bill Clinton adopted it right after he took office. More than 10,000 men and women serving this country in the military have been dismissed since Don't Ask, Don't Tell was introduced. But now the country's fighting real wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and now the military needs every good man and woman it can find to fight them. And something seems to be happening with the Pentagon's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. It looks like it's quietly being set aside. Here's ABC's Jake Tapper.
He came to the U.S. Senate in June.
I'm Robert Stout from Utica, Ohio, a combat war vet from Iraq, Purple Heart. I was wondering if I could speak to the senator.
Although Sergeant Stout says the senators were called in advance,
if you want to leave your contact information,
something the senator's aides dispute, neither Ohio's George Voinovich nor Mike DeWine met with him.
Did you tell them what you wanted to meet about? I just wish to introduce myself to my senator and discuss my state with him.
But he's not free.
No.
But the fact that Sergeant Stout is gay is ultimately why he's here today, to lobby Congress to change the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. Sergeant Stout was in the Army for 5 years and in Iraq for about 10 months. On May 11, 2004, he was out on patrol about an hour southeast of Samara.
The only thing I remember is heard a loud bang and felt like somebody poured water all over my face.
That was blood. After 2 months of rehab, Stout returned to Iraq. He still has some shrapnel in him.
A couple pieces are still in the arm. They removed most of it from there. A couple pieces in the neck, and I got a couple scrapes on the face and legs.
Sergeant Stout says he was already sick of living a lie. His wounds prompted him to out himself to the Associated Press.
The fact that I can fight, I can bleed, I can die just as good as every other straight man and woman in that military should not bar me from enlistment.
On behalf of the Gay, Lesbian, and Allied Senate Staff Caucus, we're proud to welcome Robert Stout, who is...
Even though he violated Don't Ask, Don't Tell, he's told, Stout was permitted to remain in the military until his normal discharge 7 weeks later, as long as he signed a document.
I would go ahead, sign a paper saying I would not engage in homosexual acts, make homosexual comments, or engage in homosexual marriage, and they'd let me discharge naturally.
In fact, discharging soldiers for being gay is on the wane. What the military calls homosexual separations were at a high until 2001, the year the first of 2 U.S. wars began. By 2004, the number was about half that. Aaron Belkin heads the Center for the Study of Sexual Minorities in the Military.
The Pentagon, of course, has a great need for bodies to fight, a great need for manpower. And in this war, just as was the case in Vietnam and Korea and Persian Gulf I and World War II, the Pentagon is ceasing to discharge gay service members because it needs gays to serve in combat.
Belkin points to this memo from March 1945, in the thick of World War II. The Secretary of War changed the policy so that the mere confession of homosexual tendencies no longer merited a discharge. These 1999 regulations for soldiers in the reserve state that if a discharge for homosexual conduct is not requested prior to the unit's receipt of alert notification, discharge is not authorized. In other words, gays stay in the military once their unit has been mobilized for action. The Pentagon says mere declarations of being gay have never been enough to merit a discharge. It's gay actions that constitute proof. It has no explanation as to why the number of homosexual separations has declined since 2001 and insists the policy is still fully in effect.
The policy is the policy that everybody feels is the most effective for this issue, which is not an easy issue, but no, the policy is not under review.
I believe the policy I am announcing today represents a real step forward.
When he announced Don't Ask, Don't Tell in 1993, President Clinton called it an imperfect solution for allowing gays to serve in the military while satisfying the concerns of generals.
To introduce a group of individuals and put them in with heterosexuals, ask them to share the most private of their facilities together, the bedroom, the barracks, latrines, the showers. I think that's a very difficult problem to give the military.
We had quite a number of gay soldiers in my battalion that were open with their fellow soldiers, and cohesion was not affected, morale was not affected, discipline was not affected.
Right. Hold.
The Army's recent recruiting struggles, as well as other issues, have a few conservative Republicans on Capitol Hill rethinking Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Like Representative Wayne Gilchrist, whose brother is gay.
Do you think you would have arrived at this position if your brother were not gay?
Probably not as easy, no.
Gilchrist, who served as a Marine in Vietnam, is supporting legislation to allow gays and lesbians to serve openly in the military.
I don't care if you're 18, 16, 25, whatever your age is, when you're in combat, you are not thinking about sex. You're thinking about staying alive. You're thinking about keeping your buddy alive.
Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld recently celebrated the Army's 230th birthday with these words.
The Army story is America's story, where anyone with the desire to serve and anyone with the drive and talent can excel.
Stout says that not just anyone can serve their country.
I loved my job. My soldiers were great. The military is a wonderful institution. And if it wasn't for the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, I'd be more than happy to stay in.
This is Jake Tapper for Nightline in Washington.